Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for August 1st, 2014, Friday afternoon around 4:45 in Belleville, Massachusetts. Battling some sun and clouds today, a little bit on the muggy side today, but it's around 80 degrees, but it's not very hot and humid. We might get some rain on Saturday and Sunday, so it might be a 50-50 weekend at best. The sun might poke out on Sunday around here. Maybe that will fuel the fire for more thunder showers. Not too many news to report, but one more thing to have the support of RDT. We're not backing down until he gets back in control of Market Basket, and we need RDT to be our leader. If not, then Market Basket is nothing without RDT. We need him back. Board of Directors, RDS, do the right thing. Sell Market Basket to the one who run it perfectly. The one he's been doing it for years, RDT. Okay, my next subject is about nbcsn's studio shows. nbcsn is like a competitor to ESPN. They're fighting with Fox Sports 1 and CBS Sports Network to see who's going to be the number 2 sports network in cable. And so far, nbcsn's studio shows have been very subpar, and they haven't lasted a long time. Ever since like nbcsn launched in 2012. The first studio show nbcsn did was NBC Sports Talk, that started out in September 2011 and lasted through January 2013. It wasn't officially canceled, but it hasn't been on the air in 18 months, and it probably won't come back. NBC Sports Talk was a sports talk show, an hour sports talk show about updates on the Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football, and golf and tennis. And it was a real good show. It was insightful sports talk about the sports experts and sports analysts and stuff like that. It was a pretty good show, but it got low ratings, and it was removed, put on a hiatus in January 2013, and it hasn't been on the air since. Another show that nbcsn does is Pro Football Talk, which started in September of 2011 as well, and it was basically NFL news about weekly previews, game analysis, and off the field news and other stuff like that. And it is almost daily during the football season, and in the off season they have team previews of the next season, team reviews, how the draft's gonna be. It was a good show, an alternative to like the NFL Live on ESPN and other shows on NFL Network. Right now it's on hiatus, and it might return for the football season. The biggest hype studio show that nbcsn ever had was the crossover with Michelle Beadle and Dave Briggs co-hosting it. It was like a show like Sports Nation, but it really didn't take off and running. By like May 2013, Dave Briggs was off the show, and it was retitled The Crossover with Michelle Beadle, but it didn't get the ratings, and September 2013 it was canceled, and also Michelle Beadle left NBC to return to ESPN and hosting Sports Nation again. Also, nbcsn did a highlights show in the morning times between 6 a.m. and 9 in the morning called The Lights. It was reviews of the sports action of the night, just showed the highlights with a voiceover announcer. This was a pretty good show. It was kind of something different from the other sports highlight shows. They just showed the highlights without analysts or without talk show segments. It was just a voiceover. It lasts for about a year, but it has not been on the air since August of 2013, and it's probably not coming back, which is kind of, sad, because it was something alternative, but I think it didn't get the ratings. Another one of the sports shows that nbcsn did, which just got canceled, was the Sports Dash, hosted by Dave Briggs and Carolyn Mano. It was an hour-long sports show at noontime, previewing the sports news of the day and highlights and analyst and previews of tonight's action from all the major sports. It was a pretty good show, and it had the talents of like Carolyn Mano and Dave Briggs, but it didn't get good ratings. January, it was reduced to a half hour, and then it was preempted by Olympic coverage for a couple of weeks. When it came back, it just got very low ratings. Once in a while, they might be like other substitute hosts like Julie Donaldson and other ladies, but it didn't get the ratings, and it just got canceled. Sad though, because Carolyn Mano's talents are and Julie Donaldson's talents are pretty good, and I think they'll be the next big things in NBC Sports and NBCSN. Also, from time to time, there's a monthly show called Costas Now, hosted by Bob Costas. It's basically his HBO show with sports. It's a sports issue oriented show. He has interviews and stuff. It's a pretty good show. It has aired monthly on NBCSN, but it hasn't aired too much this year. I don't know if it's ever coming back. Also, NBCSN had a show with Sports Illustrated as well in 2012, but it lasted a few episodes, and it hasn't been back on the air since. And it's very hard to develop ratings for sports shows for NBCSN, because they don't have the time and the patience for the show to become a hit. They want big ratings, but ESPN is the king of the mountain on sports studio shows, and with Sports Center and all the others, and they've had a great following. It's going to have to take a monumental effort by NBCSN and other sports networks to take down ESPN with the sports shows. They're trying, but they don't give these shows a time to find their audience. They want their ratings to be quick. And in a few more weeks, August 17th, NBCSN is going to have a new sports called NBC Sports Sunday Night something, and it's mainly going to be a studio show devoted to that. Sports NBC has, and NBC Sports and SN has in there that they cover, like the NFL, the English Premier Soccer League, golf, NHL, Notre Dame football, and Olympic coverage. This might be a good show, but it's limited because they can't show MLB or NBA stuff because they don't have the rights to it. It's going to be hosted by Josh Elliott, and I'll give it a chance. They should give it a chance, but it might suffer the same fate of all the other studio shows on NBCSN. They just want ratings quickly. They don't want these shows to develop a following. They just want ratings quick. And if they don't get the ratings, they'll let the show just slide down and die a slow death, which is sad, because if you want to compete with ESPN, you gotta let a show develop. Just like when ESPN first started, there was not too many home, but they let Sports Center and all of these studio shows develop to find their audience and their niche, and they're often right. And I don't think sometimes some of these new sports networks do not have really the patience for studio shows to develop their core audience. If they just want the ratings, and if they don't get the ratings, they'll just cancel them and bring on the new shows. They need patience. NBCSN needs patience with the studio shows that they add, because they might be following there, and they might be a steady audience for something, an alternative to ESPN, and maybe over time they could take ESPN's ratings away, but it's a very difficult task. Well, I'll be back later with my third and final video blog of the night. Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye now. And RDT, RDT, RDT.